Welcome back. With us live over the phone over the same topic is Dr. Magdy Allam. He is consultant to the International Climate Change Program. Good morning, Dr. Allam.
Good morning.
How are you doing, sir? Of course, talking about this particular important topic, what is the importance of opening dialogue between the government, the European dialogue, and international organizations regarding environmental partnerships, climate change partnerships, and policies in the field of green hydrogen?
Actually, one of the phases of the concerns of the climate resilience and the climate adaptation to deal with all the climate shifts that we are suffering on the globe. And actually this opportunity to the share of the Minister of Environment in Egypt with the other partners, especially on the European countries, and the all, of course, the influential sectors and countries, either in the industry or agriculture or transport, or actually the new and the renewable energy sources, which is actually the solution of the severe pollution that the negative impacts of the industry. And we can say frankly that when countries responsible for the greenhouse gases increases all over the country and all over the globe, of course, which is urging all the partners to cooperate together to deal with the negative impacts of the industrial revolution that's taken up to 500 years ago to start with the use of the coal and the other fuel, which is actually has negative impacts on the climate resilience and the climate changes. So it's important the cooperation between the Ministry of Environment representing the government of Egypt with the counterparts on the other side, especially with the industrial countries. The European dialogue is very essential for the developing countries because the European dialogue has something related to the responsibility of the Europe to achieve all of the activities that we have now, either building or transport or kinds of industries with the impact of the greenhouse gases all over the ecosystem, either in the water system in the Mediterranean Sea that we are all impacted with, either on the European side or the Arabian side. We are completely affected by the Mediterranean pollution, either for the biodiversity or for the climate change, or even for the vegetation, as we are losing up to 35% of the total vegetation coverage being lost, which is actually impacting negatively on the development of the all of the kinds of the biodiversity, especially which is related to the food sector. We are dealing with the nexus, which is including the energy and water, and in addition, of course, the food security. This is the nexus that all the impacts of and dialogues and meetings and conferences of the partners, either in the European partners, in the USA partners, or other Asian partners, all of them are actually taking to have international organization to deal with partnership policies that, for example, implementing the green hydrogen instead of the fossil fuel or the petroleum fuel. No, we are actually realizing that maybe by the next 45 years, the completely eradication of the oil will completely disappear, and so the transfer of the new and renewable energy will dominate in all the energy sources. So this is a time that we can start to do our green system and the green economy in addition to the blue economy, because the green economy you are focusing on all the friendship with the environment, but actually the other component related to the water services is actually the blue economy. Those are the two main economies that actually creating the food security and creating all the biodiversity protection. So the Minister of Environment again stressed to the importance of the Egyptian changing in language dialogue about the environment. It's very essential that the industrial countries will respect the needs of Egypt and African countries. All the emissions of the African countries cannot exceed at all 4% maximum of the total emissions in comparison with 25 and 35 emissions of the China and the United States of America. So actually the Arab countries and the African countries are mainly affected by the negative impacts of the fossil fuel production and fossil fuel usage. Actually, as far we are creating carbon dioxide, creating the sulfur systems, and creating also the other pollutants that impacting all the ecosystems. So we are losing a lot of biodiversity. So the Ministry of Environment also focusing on protection of the biodiversity. The biodiversity is very essential to continue the systems alive, to create for the human beings more systems of actually overcoming the hungry systems, which is nowadays affecting in Africa more than 22% of the total population of Africa are affected by the hungry and the different systems of desertification, the sand dunes, the loss of a lot of up to 28% of the total vegetation are losing by desertification, and this is actually has negative impact on the income of the farmers, on the income of the countries, and actually affecting the climate resilience and the climate adaptation. Of course, we are referring to the Minister of Environment for looking for creating a supportive climate nationally and both institutional level also. The climate nationally systems is very essential as the climate resilience and the climate adaptation also, and the greenhouse gases must be monitored all over the 24 hours every day, because nowadays we have some completely changed. We are losing 2 seasons of the 4 seasons. We are losing the actually focusing only on 2 seasons. The season of the winter and the season of the summer, and we are losing the spring one and also the other component of the 4 systems of the seasons all over the globe, which is actually a very alarming and warning for all the countries that there will be something wrong. If we are going to the 2050, it will be a disaster, because we must reduce the greenhouse gases for this, not exceeding 1.5 maximum of the increasing the greenhouse gases. If we are exceeding this, it will be a dramatically negative impact all over the globe, either on the climate or in the land or the vegetation or the water resources. The high salinity of the wells also starting to be shown even in Africa, especially in our deserts in Africa and Asia also. So there will be a shift in the content of the dealing of the new trends of the climate resilience and the climate adaptation to overcome all the traditional systems of the fossil fuels and the petroleum fuels. It will be completely disappear, but actually depending on this, even to fire the vegetation wastes or the house wastes, all of those are sharing in greenhouse gases increasing, which is affecting more negatively on the production, especially in the botanical production. The Minister of Environment also referred to the supportive methodologies that must be done nationally, the climate nationally also, and I do refer to her statement of the institutional level. the institutional level has a very important role to support the climate resilience and the climate change. And we must stop the traditional and the conventional methodologies of actually energy. We must refer to the PV units. Nowadays we have in Egypt, for example, in Upper Egypt, in the most desert severe areas, we have successful stories up to implementing 350 units of PV units already established in Upper Egypt and under the supervision of the Ministry of Environment and Ministry of Agriculture. Also, nowadays we are using EIT, efficient irrigation technology. We have dredging system. We have no loss of water flooding because we are now have efficient irrigation technology that's making the drop of the water just efficiently on the plant root, no loss of water being accepted at all under the supervision of the Ministry of Environment, because this is actually the water resources is another challenge. We are all now looking for more desalination, and actually we already noticed that the residents in Sisi have 5 big projects to actually transfer all the water sources. I mean, for example, the sources of the agriculture sector, which is up to 12 million feet dam. We are reusing again after refinery. We are reusing again all the water used and having the big stations of purification of this wastewater to reuse again, not to lose it. And actually we have a big connection between Fayoum area and the Hammam area on the Mediterranean Sea, with a very ambitious project to connect the two partners to continue to use all the flood of the water being done in Karun areas to be used in the Hammam areas with a very technical and modern system of water transport all over this distance up to 80 kilometers at least, to connect those partners, the Mediterranean Sea and also the Karun Lake water reservoir, which is actually a very innovative project nowadays, being ambitious with partners even in the European countries, how we can use this. And we have now 5 stations of refinery of the wastewater, either industrial wastewater or agriculture wastewater or other wastewater. No dropping being lost. There must be kept to continue to increase our water resources, as we know that this conflict of interest between the countries, even in the source of the south of Nile River resources. So for this, we must go to have innovative activities and innovative projects to add more water resources being purified to be actually going to the food security, applying the Nexus system with the energy and the water and the food. Also, the food security is another priority of the government of Egypt. So nowadays also the Minister of Environment and his team working with the international counterpart to add also financial support. The financial support is very important. The nation that we have and the soft loans that we have, this is a support of the government of Egypt to have sources to consume more money for the new projects of the Nexus, especially for the food security.
Of course, Dr. Magdy Allam, of course, you are a consultant to the International Climate Change Program. We'd like to thank you, sir, so much talking to us here today in the Breakfast Show. And we're going to go to a short break and we'll come to continue the Breakfast Show, so stay with us.